What's up, everyone? I'm gonna do iPhone 6s charge dock connector today. This is kind of a. I mean, I know it took me a long time to figure out how to do these things more easily. And one of the problems with connector repairs is burning stuff up, like the battery connector. How do you get this thing off without burning this thing up? And I think the secret, well, not the secret, but I think one important piece of using your hot air reworkstation is finding a temperature that works. That can melt the connector that can melt the pads, the solder without melting the connector. Okay, and then the other thing is just make sure you have some sort of heat sink so that you can even use Kapton. I know people go against using Kapton, but I like Kapton, especially for something like this, where I have to get this connector off, but I can't burn this other connector. So I'm just gonna put a little piece of heat sink here, and then I'm gonna heat it basically, and you shall see. And you know what? If you add a little bit of flux, that actually helps quite a bit too. So, and of course you want to direct the heat away from anything else that can melt, like that little antenna thing. I mean, that's not a big deal though. I mean, even if it does come off, it's not a big deal. Alright, so just put a little bit of flux, that'll help it come off a little easier, but basically find the sweet spot. I'm at 400 degrees Celsius here, okay? 400 degrees Celsius with airflow of 8 on my quick 861 DW. And that seems to be the sweet spot on this hot air station. And here's the thing, I have an identical 861 DW in my office, and it is at 340 degrees Celsius, so I mean, don't go based on what I have set. Just really just kind of time it. I mean, I kind of just time it. If I'm sitting there for 2 minutes holding this hot air gun and nothing's melting, then it's not hot enough. Turn the heat up. If I'm sitting here for 10 seconds and the plastic burns off, then you're screwed. Then you have to put a new connector, so it's too hot. And another thing is this, okay? You can vary the temperature by going closer or going further away. So I start a little bit further away. As you can see, it's probably about maybe 1.5 inches right now, and I'm just kind of heating it. Think of an oven, okay? You're really just kind of heating it with the oven, and you're looking for that. You're looking for I know you guys can't see that. All right, can you see it now? All right. So I'm just looking for a little bit of shiny for the solder to melt, really. And so I'm just kind of heating it, waiting for the solder to melt. You'll see the solder melt when the pads get shiny. All right. And you can kind of hold it like this. I don't really care about this connector, so I'm just gonna kind of hold the end of it. And once the plastic starts melting, it's gonna go pretty quick. So just kind of sit here, and you will see it. I mean, it's already starting to melt. I can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I can see the solder melting already, and the plastic's starting to melt too. So you can kind of see it wiggling, and I'm gonna get the end of it. Boom! See that? So, I mean, that's how long that take. Let's see, about 3 minutes total. I mean, that's with me talking and all that stuff too. So, I mean, that's not abnormal, you really want to find that line where that point where the connector doesn't melt and the solder melts. And again, the temperature doesn't have to be perfect, because you can vary the temperature by the distance of the hot air gun, from whatever you're trying to desolder, So that's what it comes down to. So I'm just gonna go over the pads with. It's not low melt. It's just 6337. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna wick it or anything. I don't think it's really necessary to wick it. But you do want to clean it after you you do want to clean it and get all the old stuff off. Okay, after you're done with it, because you always want to use fresh solder flux, because burnt solder flux is no bueno. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna use a donor board here, because my other my new connectors are not. I don't have my new connectors with me, so unfortunately. So it's okay though. I'm just gonna use a donor one, and hopefully I can get it off without. It's just take a little more time. That's all. And then there's gonna be a risk of burning stuff too. So I'm just put a little IPA on the end on the foam here to remove the foam. That's really the easiest way to do it. And then it just kind of peels off pretty easily. Otherwise, the glue kind of just. Let me use my fingers. See, that's pretty easy, right? That's pretty easy. I don't know if you tried pulling it off without putting anything on it, but it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. I mean, I still really hate doing these, really, but it's definitely less painful now. Let me see if I can get this thing a little bit more focused. A little bit better? Okay, that's better. Alright, so I'm not going to worry about messing up this connector or the battery connector. So, I don't think I'll do it anyways, but, so I'm just going to heat it like this, and the goal is to try to get this off without damaging anything, without, in one piece, really. So I'm just going to do the same thing I just did a little while ago. So you can see I'm probably about, again, 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches, probably right around there. And again, 400 and I'm at 18 actually. 18 airflow, because that's just my hot air rework station. Again, I have another one that's at 340 that works just the same as this. So as you can see, it's a. I probably should just calibrate it to be the same, but I mean, does it really matter? No, not really. So long as it works. So, let's see, 7 minutes into the video now, and let's see how long this one takes. Okay, should be about 3 minutes, about the same. And if it's not melting, then I can just go a little bit closer, inch it closer. And the thing about getting this off is that it's gonna be tough to get it off without breaking the connector. All right. So again, you kind of want to it's going to be like an oven, it's just, you're really just kind of slowly heating it, and then eventually the solder is going to melt. So I'm going a little bit closer now, okay? Because it's been sitting here for about a minute now, and it's not really doing anything. So I'm just gonna go a little closer. And I may have to put some, there you go. I can see it melt, there you go, right there. See that? So you see the connector kind of starting wanting to burn. Okay, like that. And then like that. So that's pretty much not great, but I should probably just push it off. But I don't really want to like use too much force, because it's gonna. So now I didn't push it far enough, and now it's stuck. The backside. I should have just probably pushed it off the cliff there. That was really stuck now. Shit. I should have just pushed it off the damn cliff, man. Alright. It done flown off. Alright, so we're good. So just let it cool before you do anything with it, otherwise it's gonna. Plastic is very brittle. Okay, so that's good. By the way, if anybody knows of a good logic board holder, I will pay. This thing sucks, man. Problem is that little screw thing. It always slips, and I've tried filing it and everything, and it just doesn't work too well. I'm gonna actually get my other logic board holder because that one sucks less. So before logic board holder go shit again, I swear. This is the most frustrating thing right here. Don't mind paying for the logic board, a good logic board holder, but so long as it works. I mean, these things are cheap, but I will pay if it works. So let's look at the other side of this first and just make sure there's no bridges or anything, and there are not. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything to it. I'm just going to put it back on here and then reheat it the same way. So, so that's it. Let's see. Okay, so just make sure it's aligned, and then you really just, I mean, I guess you can, you know what? It's probably better to just kind of tack one side down, but you really want to use hot air to get this going. Otherwise, the ends are not going to hold. So you just kind of want to make sure that both sides are aligned properly, you know. And that's cool. Is that a little bit frustrating for you guys? You guys can't even see this, man. What's up? Alright, that's pretty good. And then I'll just line this side too. Okay, so that's pretty lined right there. And then I'm going to use heat to put it back on. And you know what? I'm going to ditch that thing. And I'm just going to go like this. Because I'm pretty confident that I'm not going to burn that connector. As I say that. So same old thing. Just kind of let it sit here and let it melt. It should melt a little bit faster now because I have some 6337 mixed in with the lead-free solder there. Let's put a little more flux. Okay. Seems like it's burning a little faster now, so I'm gonna pull back a little bit. So this is taking a little bit. You see the connector burning just a little bit, so I'm kind of reluctant to go a little closer. But it's not really melting. I probably should have gotten rid of the lead-free solder, but all right, there you go, right there. And then let's go to this side. Why is this not going? Taking a little bit. Let's put a little flux on it. Put a little flux on this, and then I will. I'm just getting closer because it's not going, so I'm gonna have to be careful. Alright, so that's good. And really, the end posts are the hardest parts. End post is the hardest part, so you really just want to make sure the end posts are soldered on using hot air, not your iron, because it won't stay. Trust me, I've tried. So what I normally do is I'll touch it up with my tweezers, each joint. Even though this one may be pretty solid actually. If it's pretty solid, I may not do it, but it's not usually. You know what? These are pretty good joints right here, so I may just leave them. Like that's loose right there, you know. So I'll probably just touch them all up. Yeah, let's just touch them all up. Okay. So you definitely don't want to bridge them, because you would be screwed. You want to use plenty of flux because that's going to help you with the bridges, and you want to open your tweezers just slightly so that the pin will be in between the tweezers, and you can get a nice little joint from that, you know. Okay, so I just kind of push down on the pin a little bit, and then you can kind of see when the joint is there because it's a little bit shiny. That's it. So that's it. That's your finished job right there, and as you can see, the joints are nice, shiny, solid, and you can check them with a multimeter or whatever, and that's really about it. All right, so